Hi everyone. In this video, again, we are going to talk about the result and option types. But here, I'm also going to show you an additional trick. So first, let's start the option type. If you remember, our option enum had two different fields. One was a sum, which was carrying a value, and also we had none. So let's create an example. Let's create a function here called divide. First, we are going to have a numerator, denominator, and we are going to return an option same type. Here we are going to say if denominator equals to 0.0, then we are going to return none, but else if it's not 0, then we are going to return some numerator divided by denominator. So this way, if something wrong with our calculation, which is denominator is being equal to 0, which prevents us from doing division, then we are going to basically return none. We are not going to have an error here because we are checking this and returning none. If we don't have any problem, then we are returning sum and the value with the sum. And with this, we are going to carry one type, which is option. But with this option type, we are going to carry two different values, which can be none or which can be some value wrapped up to the sum. Okay, this was our option example. Now let's create another example that we use result type. For this, first I'm going to import the file system. I'm going to say use standard library and file system. Now let's create a function. Here I'm going to create a function called file content, and this is going to, let's say, file name, which will be a string reference, and we are going to return a result, and this result will be string, and if something goes wrong, it's going to be stdio error. And inside this, I'm going to get the content from the file. For that, I'm going to say let content equals file system read to string, and inside this, I'm going to say file name like this and a question mark. So what does this question mark do here? This basically means that I'm going to unwrap your content here, and if something wrong with your content, then I'm going to return the error immediately, which will be a standard library input output error. But if everything is okay, then the content will have the content inside of this file. And finally, I'm going to say okay, and I'm going to return the content with this. So in the main, let's say let my content equals get file content, and as the file name, I'm going to say my file.txt, which does not exist, and then we are going to say cargo build and cargo run. As you can see, we didn't have any problem because now I have my content, which should be equal to our result and the std error here. But if we check my content saying match my content, first I'm going to say okay, let's say item here, and we will say the result is non-item. But if it's error and we have error here, then we are going to say we got an error, and we don't need this here. So again, let's run this. As you can see, now we got an error. So before writing this, let's run once again without this one. As you can see, it works perfectly. Even though we are generating an error, creating an error here, and we are trying to read some content from a file which does not exist, our program works very smoothly. It doesn't work as there was something wrong. We can see something wrong just after we try to get it, and we do this intentionally. So by doing this, what Rust does is just making sure that your program can run very smoothly. And by checking these errors, we are also saying that, all right, I'm going to write this program, but if something goes wrong, I don't want it to be fail like we did in the panic. Here we are trying to make our program live and perform as smoothly as possible, even though we have many errors. So we are handling that error, and the user hopefully would not notice it. And that's the error handling. Thank you very much, and I will see you on our next video.